What is up, you guys? The Fallout What If here. Today I'm going to do a what if. It's going to be, I think, it's not probably going to be an hour long, but I'll try my best. I'm starting to work out even harder than I did before, and I'm also working my job in probably a couple of hours, so I need just like get an hour of sleep or something like that. But anyway, hopefully you guys are okay, and this is part 2 to What If Deku Had a Symbiote. Now, where we last left off, Deku decides to, get stronger. And, well, he's heard about his siblings, Lin and Kyoko, that they're doing better. But the fact is, Deku is trying to find a way to save them because the father, Hisashi, Deku's dad, he has a couple of more symbiotes at his disposal, because the thing about him is he takes care of symbiotes. That is one of his jobs, and he could take a couple and it's no problem, even though there's about, like I said, 13 of 18 or 16 of 18 more there's been a couple of new symbiotes that have came around nowadays. So it's like they're going to repopulate, and there's nothing that nobody can do about it. They could probably just throw it away or probably send them off to the sun. But other than that, sorry about that if I'm breathing. I'm too sleepy. But anyway, now we already, if you guys remembered, Lin and Kyoko, Deku's siblings, they're on the hospital bed, and Deku got saved, but he has no arm. Now, they could technically regenerate one for him, like, what's called, if you remembered, the one on the left is Revenant, and the one on the right is Caustic. Now, they say that they could regenerate his arm for him. There's no need to still, be the same way. Or, how should I say it? There's no reason for him to be just, like, without his other arm. But Deku decides, sorry about that. Deku decides, no, I'm not going to have my arm regenerated yet. I need to get stronger, and because I lost my arm, I'm going to stay without an arm for a while. Because I think to myself, if I do this without having my arm back, and if I get strong enough that I go to UA, I'm going to be, okay with getting my arm back. But if I fail, then that's what's going to happen. I fail. Now, Caustic and Revenant tell him that there's no need for him to, just say he doesn't want his arm back. He can technically have it back, but Deku is set forth on this, and plus, oh wait, give me a second here. Alright, I'm back. So, you might all be thinking right now, oh, is Deku going to be, trying to train himself? Yes, he is. He's going to actually try to practice learning how to just switch between symbiotes. Now, you guys may be thinking, is he going to probably fuse these two together and make them even stronger, like Vito from, like, my last time I'd done a symbiote thing? Yes, I am going to do it. But I'm going to evolutionize it soon. Now, Deku, his training is going to be way different than your average, just work out a lot. No. It's much more different than that. Because everybody didn't know about, like, the symbiote sometimes looking like this. It's not exclusively known about this, but the thing is, Deku he's going to be in a school that's different. The thing is well, that school is one of the most dangerous schools. It's mostly for delinquents. And Deku has to get rid of that attitude of, oh, be so nice to people, like treat them with respect. Like, no. Deku needs more power in his head. He wants to do this by getting stronger by defeating his opponents. He thinks to himself, even though I might not be taking the most heroic paths, I have to be first a survivor. I have to be first at the very bottom. If I don't, then what good am I? So Deku goes and actually, talks to, what's his face? Momo's dad. He talks to Momo's dad, and he says he wants to go here. And he's asking Deku, why would he do that? Why would he actually want to go there? And he says, well, exactly what I just said. He wants to go face the delinquents, so that way he can get strong enough to handle people. To handle people in different kinds of ways, different kinds of quirks, so he can be already, he can obtain so much knowledge instead of just being like, oh, I had to wait to fight bad guys in the streets. And this is when Miss Yaoyorozu said, no, you shouldn't be doing this. This is not the best way to go about it. And this is when Deku is about to put his head down. But this is when Mr. Yaoyorozu says, all right, I see why not. And this is when she says, or Miss Yaoyorozu says, dear. And Mr. Yaoyorozu says, I understand that he's going to do something dangerous. And I understand that this could potentially affect him. But if he says he needs to do this, let him do this. And this is when Momo says, well, if he's going, I'm going there too. And this is when he's like, absolutely not. And this is when Miss Yaoyorozu says, oh, don't worry, remember, if she wants to do this, she can do it. And this is when basically Momo's dad just says, I see your point, but I'm still going to have to say no. And this is when Miss Yaoyorozu says, well, I guess, I'm going to have to say no about this too. So Mr. Yaoyorozu takes a while, and then he comes to terms saying, all right, dear, all right, I see your point. I'm still going to send Izuku there, and Momo is going to be there as well then. Which technically backfired on Miss Yaoyorozu, but she can't take it back because if any guy knows this, is that women will take to heart these kinds of situations. And they're kind of cruel in their own way. I didn't say cool, I said cruel. So anyway, Deku tells Mr. Yaoyorozu, thank you. And this is when Mr. Yaoyorozu says, please, protect her as well. I know that you're going to do this on your own, but please be mindful of her and make sure she's safe. Deku says, alright, I'll do that. Now, why is he not talking to his parents? Well, first of all, they're still there in the hospital, and Hisashi, he would go and get the symbiotes, but at the same time, with the two kids with two children, well, two of his kids right there needing help, he doesn't know what to do. So when Deku goes to school, which is in a couple of months, that's when that's when Hisashi says, all right, dear, I'm going to go back to America and get a couple of new symbiotes so that way they could start, redoing the whole process. And Inko says, are they going to be okay? And this is when Hisashi says, yes, they will be. Now, what happens after that is Deku goes to the school and, well, he gets signed up and everything. And a lot of people see this, but yeah, Momo is rich. She's very rich. So much so that she already has a reputation as the queen, as the princess of the school. And Deku is the bodyguard. And she has a best friend named Jiro. How do they know about Jiro? Well, she got strung along this too. Now, Jiro decides to go with them, and when they found out about Deku going there, they were like, all right, we'll let you go, but at the same time, you got to make sure you protect yourself. So, all three of them are going, and I'm going to make this more special. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, there's two people already in class that were in class 1A, which is Kirishima and Denki, which, you would expect these two, more along the lines of you expect freaking Kirishima there. Now, over the past 2 years, they already made friends with Kirishima and Denki, because in one instance, Deku saw Denki, and Denki was being used as a charger, and this is when, like, he doesn't want to get hurt, but at the same time, it toughened him up to be okay with people pushing him around, because it meant that he's mentally fortified his own, he fortified his mind to just take the punishment. But Deku he saw an opportunity to help him out, because nobody should really be bullied. And Deku says, hey, you're that charger boy. And this is when he says, yeah, I'm that. And this is when one of the delinquents says, hey, stop moving. You're making me lose battery. And this is when Denki says, sorry. And this is when the guy says, I told you not to move. And this is when he raises his hand and says, you idiot, and is about to punch him, but Deku grabs his hand. And Denki sees this, and he's kind of like, oh boy, he messed with the wrong people. So Deku says, what are you doing to him? This is when the delinquent says, well, he is pretty much our gopher. He gets what we want. He also gives us the right answers to tests, as much as he could probably give. Not only that, but, well, he's so manipulated. He can be manipulated easily. By the way, if you ever need to just need your phone to be charged, but don't have that weird stuff, you don't have that box with you, just tell him to just, put this charger in his mouth. He'll do the rest of it by just shooting out the electricity coming out of his mouth. So, yeah, we don't really have to fight. But Deku says, oh, I know that, but he's not going to be doing it anymore. And then Denki said, what? And this is when Denki says, yes, you heard me. You're not going to be doing this anymore. And the guy says, what do you mean by that? Deku says, I know that you've been just bullying him the whole time. Sure, he can be manipulated easily, but he's still a human being. And I don't like people like you, who walk around people like if they were bugs. Now, this is when the guy says, oh, we have a hero here, people. And this is when some of the other delinquents, even that aren't even in his squad, they're laughing around too, because they're like, Oh, look at that! Somebody here who thinks he's going to make it to like All Might level right here, people. They're laughing at him, and Deku says, "What is so funny?" And the guy says, "Look at you. You talk all this crap, but you look weak. You're not intimidating, and you have one arm. Do you really think I care about what you say?" Now, Revenant's saying, "I want to kill him. I just want to kill him. Let me eat him." Now, if I didn't tell you this already, Revenant and Caustic already changed. Because without the masks that they had, they're actually now capable of doing their own, like, facial features without the mask, because Deku is the new owner of it, and since he doesn't use his quirk all the time, well, since he hasn't used his quirk like to the level of how they done it, or his siblings have done it, it's basically leaving him more time to actually now turn into who he has to be, or turning the symbiotes instead of faceless people. Now they're actually showing their true faces. Now Caustic and Revenant start bickering, saying, "No, we shouldn't bite him." And it's like, "Yes, we should bite him." It's like, there's like a kind of like angel and devil thing going on around them. But Deku says, "Enough. Look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Now, I got a couple of people inside of me that don't take this out of context. I have a few people that would want to actually, beat the crap out of you and eat the crap out of you. Now, one, you can just walk away, let me have Denki. We can, not force this fight upon you. You don't need to force yourself to fight me." And everybody is starting to laugh, even him. And Deku is saying, "Oh boy, they're not going to take number one, which leaves number two." This is when the guy actually slaps him in the face, saying, "Alright, guess what? We're gonna be playing with you now. Everybody, or, hey boys, let's teach him a lesson. And you, once I'm done with him, I'm going after you next. So sit there and wait until you're punished properly." This is when they punch Izuku in the face, and after that keep doing it. He gets kicked in the stomach a couple of times, and he starts getting stomped on. And this is when Momo and Jiro actually see this, and they really want to help him out, but they know right now Deku's going to do what he does best, and that's fight back. Now, this is when basically all they see is a blue arm. Oh boy, sorry about that. All they see is a blue arm just grab freaking the bully, and they see Deku's face changing, and his eyes turning red, his teeth being sharpened, and his tongue like every other symbiote. And he turns into the Caustic one, and he starts shooting out gas. And this is when all they see is freaking, they see a symbiote. And the thing is, Deku's already seen their face, and they were thinking if he saw their faces, he would have some PTSD. But when Deku saw it, he says, "Alright, so this is what you actually look like." They thought that he was going to be scared of them, but he doesn't actually mind it at all. He's seen way worse, which was technically Carnage, and he hates him, not because he's a symbiote, but because he's just evil. Now, Deku punches the guy in the face, and actually, well, I'm not going to do the Venom like voice because my throat hurts, but I'm just going to say this: you think that you're going to destroy me? You're a joke. And this is when he starts shooting up more gases. And this is not your ordinary gas. This is highly flammable gas. And this is when Deku says, "Alright, now I'm done here." This is when the guy says, "Hey, don't you walk away from me." And while he was walking towards inside the gas, he starts, he turns red. And red. Even more red. With his face blackened. His teeth dark. And this is when he turns into Revenant. Now, Revenant just shoots out a little bit of electricity from the palm of his hands. And this is this comes from a power plant, or this is like Denki's electricity. He has special properties. Sorry about that, got a spit take. Okay, he has special properties, which actually dampen and weaken to the point where it nullifies somebody's quirk. Now, what happens is, Deku just uses Revenant to shoot out a spark of electricity, and that spark causes a big explosion, causing the delinquents to just fall down to the ground and pretty much paralyzed. Now, the guy basically sees Deku, and he gets up again. He sees a pipe and just smashes his head onto the wall. And he starts hitting him and hitting him and hitting him until Deku grabs it and grabs something out of his hand. This is when he notices that he can actually do some kind of weird webbing. Now, if you guys probably didn't know, the symbiotes can do that Spider-Man thing, because why not? I liked it as a child. I liked the whole Spider-Man doing that, and Venom's in the Spider-Man universe, so I'm picking it. Now, what happens after that? Well, Deku decides to pull him back. He decides to pull him towards Deku, and he actually just does a haymaker, causing him to fall down to the ground. Now, while he's down, he's looking around him, and he tries to get up, but Deku just jumps on his head, causing his skull to crack, and Deku jumping off of it. This is when Denki sees the whole thing, and he's thinking to himself, wow, he's very strong. But at the same time, he's bleeding. Now, Deku tells the symbiotes to heal him, to make sure that he's healed properly as well. So that way he doesn't have to just worry about, after effects. And Denki was like, why did you do that for me? And be honest. Deku says, that's just what I said. You're very... Oh, shit, sorry. Alright, I'm back. He says, you're a very kind person. And I thought to myself, why would somebody kind not fight back? And it's because that you're not just weak. It's the fact that you're not going to hit somebody because you're kind to them. You're a bit of a softie on that part. Kaminari says, wait a minute, I wanted to fight back, but there is a lot of them. Even though I took them down in an instant, it's because I have I have a quirk that can do aerial attacks and single attacks. It doesn't matter to me. But you should watch what you do. I'll make sure to protect you. Besides, I always wanted a friend that was a guy. And one of my friends is in another school, so I guess you'll have to do. This is when they became friends. Now, probably 4 months after that, Deku helps Kirishima by actually picking up some stuff from the library and starts putting the stuff back into different shelves. And what happens to that is that Kirishima, well, he wants to be strong and manly. And there was a couple of people trying to pick on him, but he beat the crap out of them. But he realized that that's not being manly, it's being cowardice. This is when Deku says, "Alright, then let me fight you." And this is when Kirishima says, "What do you mean, let me fight you? Well, first of all, you don't have I don't have an arm, I don't have one. I understand, I only have one arm on me, but this is all I need to take you down." And this is when Kirishima says, "But I don't want to, that would be too, like having a handicap." And Deku slaps him in the face, and slaps him again. And he says, "You idiot. Don't think that just because I have one arm doesn't mean I don't know how to use it. Over the past couple of months, my goal was to just be good to people. And my goal right now is to beat up every single, what's the word? Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. I'm just tired. My job is to beat every delinquent out here, to show them I'm the one who can rule against them all." Now, Deku says that, while Kirishima says, "You really want to fight me?" And this is when Deku says, "Yeah, I do." And this is when Deku just puts one hand up. And he doesn't he says, "You two, don't think about healing me or protecting me. Let me do this on my own." This is when they're like, "Alright." So, while these two start fighting, Deku is just moving around, and Kirishima's trying to punch him and charge at him, but it's not doing a thing. This is when Deku just starts, grabbing him and shoving him down to the ground. After that, performing a freaking chop on the freaking back, causing him to fall. Now, Deku is strong. He's actually naturally strong due to fighting a lot of people. But Kirishima was shocked because he was in his hardened state. He used his quirk all over his body, and he pushed him down. Not only that, but made him fall even further down, even though he had his hardening ability on. And this is when Deku says, "You're surprised?" He kicks Kirishima towards the books, and Deku starts punching him, picking him up from his picking him up and doing a flipping him over. And when Kirishima gets up, he tries to strike Deku, but he only manages to scratch him. But Deku grabs his face and slams him to the ground. This is when Kirishima sees Deku only with one eye, because he still has his face covered. Well, he's still covering his face. Deku says, "I'm only strong because I have people to protect. You know that there's something in your heart that's making you want to go and get stronger. You said because you were a man, you fought back. And you don't like cowards. But you were cowering against me because you thought I was a handicap. But look at you now, on the ground. It's not a very good sight. Not one bit. Makes you look pathetic as well." Deku picks him up. Well, he grabs his hand and says, "Here, get up." Picking him up, and then after that saying, "Just know this. If you want to go down to the path of strength, follow me. I need people like you. because I have a villain in mind that I have to beat. Who I have to beat. Kirishima says, why do you need to beat him? Plus, we're not even heroes. And Deku says, yet. The person I'm trying to beat took down my sister and my brother. They were both heroes. But now they're sick. And not only that, they're injured. My dad and my mother are trying to help them, but I have to live with the fact that it was because of me. Because of my stupidity. I got attacked and I lost my arm. I don't care who or what happened in the very end. All I want is to make sure that my siblings don't need to see me weak. And not only that, to make sure that my enemy, the person who done this to me, to make sure he suffers. And Deku starts getting upset. And his eyes turn into that of Venom's. Or to basically caustic. And his face starts to change. His body starts to change as well. And he looks different. And Kirishima sees this. And he sees a big symbiote. And Deku says, me, Caustic, Revenant, those two are symbiotes. You probably already heard of them before. They're pretty much a small species right now, but they have the ability to strengthen oneself. I'm not going to give you these two, because right now, I need them to kill Carnage. This is when Kirishima hears this and he says, Carnage? But I remembered he's a mass murderer. He's killed hundreds of people before. He's done it. He doesn't care about anybody but his thirst for blood. This is when Deku says, of course. That's the whole reason why I'm going after him in the first place. Because that kind of mentality hurt my brother and my sister. Now, other delinquents start coming by the library and corners them all. Well, corners Deku and Kirishima. And this is when Deku says, well, I didn't know that there was other people coming here. And he realizes that, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's still more coming, so right now we have no time for this, so we gotta go do something about it. And this is when Kirishima says, wait a minute, what are we going to do? And Deku says, you said you wanted to be strong, right? And Kirishima says, yes. This is what Deku says. Sorry about that. This is when this is when Deku says, if you're scared, then stay by my side. From back to back. We'll handle all of them if we have to. I will not abandon you. And this is when he starts to use his Caustic's power. Or use Caustic's power and start shooting smoke. And pretty much high fog right now. And they start running out of the room. And other people start chasing him. And Deku carries Kirishima. And he starts shooting very thick fog all over the hallway. Looking like if it was an actual fire. But Deku moved around. And he says, Kirishima, get behind me. And uses electricity. But instead of exploding, this is not smoke. This is fog. Very high fog. When you shoot out electricity, he's pretty much, everybody's electrocuted that was in the clouds. But, well, a few people were still, not getting hits. So he starts turning into his freaking revenant form and starts running over there. Now, while running over there, he pretty much grabs somebody's neck and just starts shooting electricity, throwing him into the lockers. And after that, one of the guys tries to kick him, but he pulls him, and then after that, he swings him around and slams him to one of his friends. And after that, one of the guys tries to grab him, but Deku grabs his leg with basically some webbing and pulls his leg forward, causing him to do the splits. And while the guy was yelling, the guy was like, "Ah, sheesh." And this is when he says, "Shut up," and kicks him in the face, causing him to basically hold his sack while he was, he was holding his sack while the guy was, kicked in the face. So he's right now tired. Deku looks at Kirishima and says, "This is my other one." And he basically sees that this guy looks like a very evil creature, like an Oni. And Deku says, "Of course they look creepy. They're not meant for the average human being. I'm lucky enough to have two. I'm grateful that I have these two. But at the same time, I wish that they were back with my sister and brother. They probably miss him." Now, what happens after that is Deku looks around and sees a couple of other people, but they run away. But this is when Deku grabs, a piece of a bolt that was on the ground, and he shoots it so far and squeezes the bolt, causing it to hit one of the guys in the head. And he starts to spritz out a little bit of blood because that was a clean hit. So Deku says, "My offer still stands." And Kirishima says, "Wait a minute, you handled all of them by yourself, and you still want me?" Deku says, "Of course I want you still. You're my friend now. Not only that, you're somebody who's basically reliable, and is honest, and is kind. And not only that, has that one goal, to be manly. I'm not going to laugh at you at all. That's what you want. That's what you're going to get. But I'm going to ask you one last time. Will you join me and make the world a better place?" Kirishima says yes and grabs his hand. And now we have the two people. This is technically filler, but the next part will be more about the story, not about Denki and Kirishima. But anyway, if you liked it, comment down below what you feel. And other than that, I hope you have a great day. Like, comment, do subscribe to the channel here, people. This has been the Fallout with a Fear. Bye.